Good evening, friends. Generally, we believe that spoken English is not like any other, language, but that is quite an illusion. People should just, judge the, speech and oration of English like any other language. What makes English real, fabulous and attractive and adorable. Language becomes adorable and appealing when your expression is frequent, spontaneous, transparent, and lovable. There are certain words and phrases, there are certain structure that makes our conversation more like an effective conversation. Two of the structure that often we use in the day to day spoken English. One is that you have to have, another one is it is subjected to. Now let me first tell you the structure of this kind. You have to have, we have to have. Why should we use such kind of structure? Like हम कहना चाहते हैं कि हमें ये करना होगा, so that can be spoken in many ways. We have to have this, condition fulfilled. We are bound to do this. We are supposed to do this. We ought to do this. We must do this. All these expressions have this similar meaning. The only expression which is different is ought to. So ought to is an expression which always comes as an obligation, moral obligation. Like you can say that when you are talking to somebody, you say that, well, friends, we ought to be punctual in our classes. We ought to be responsible in our task. Children of these age, let us say 9 to 11 or 12, if they are conversing, they have to say, we ought to be responsible towards our studies. We ought to be accountable towards our work. People of my age, adults, they can also have, we have to have certain rules and regulations. We will always go for this kind of structure. We have to have certain, guidelines for this purpose. We are bound to have certain guidelines for this purpose. You all are bound to bring your test book tomorrow. You all are bound to complete your assignment before the practical exam starts. You are all bound to perform this task before the real exam starts. So all these expressions are frequently used in day to day spoken English. Now come to subjected to. जैसे कहा जाता है कि किसी को सजा दी गई, किसी को कोर्ट में पेश किया गया, किसी से क्वेश्चन पूछा गया, किसी को दोषी ठहराया गया. तो इट कैन बी spoken in many ways. He was held responsible for this mischief. He was held accountable for this mischief. Was held. So subject plus is am are was where plus any other past participle form of the verb plus to plus be plus any other verb, like the that man was held responsible for this commitment. That boy was held responsible for this work. Similarly, अगर कहा जाए कि आपको इसके लिए क्वेश्चनेबल होना होगा, इसके लिए अकाउंटेबल होना होगा, इसके लिए आपको जिम्मेदारी तय करनी होगी, देन इट विल बी सेड लाइक दैट, you will be subjected to question by the authority. You will be subjected to get the accountability. You will be subjected to answer the question. You will be subjected to reply to the questions. You will be subjected to explain the matter. तो ये जो हायर स्टैंडर्ड में जब हम बड़े लोगों के बीच में बात करते हैं, when we all are highly educated people, we always say that the prime minister made his minister subjected to answer the questions asked in the parliament. The speaker of the Lok Sabha made him subjected to answer the question. They were subjected to reply. He was subjected to respond to the question asked by the president, like that. In the similar way, we should always use these three, I mean, structures in a different way. Like, you know, it plus must or should or ought or to plus be plus any other word. Like, you must be accountable for this work. You must take up the responsibility. You should take up the responsibility. आपको ये जिम्मेवारी लेनी चाहिए. You must, आपको निश्चित रूप से लेनी चाहिए. You must take up this responsibility. You ought to take this responsibility. अब तीनों में क्या अंतर है? Must is a compulsion, should is a desire, and ought to be an obligation. Like, we ought to be responsible to defend our country. This is our moral obligation. We must defend our country. This is compulsion. We should defend our country. This is desire of every Indian to defend our country. So that is how we continue the conversation in different way. And the more frequently use the, like, it can be done in a very simple way. It must be done in a very simple way. It ought to be done in a very simple way. It has to be done in a very simple way. All are having the similar meaning. The more models you use, the better will be your expressions. Like, this need to be done, इसे करना ही होगा, ये करना आवश्यक है. This need to be done in time. This need to be finished in time. That need to be finished in time. So these kind of expressions are frequently used in day-to-day conversation. In the next video, we shall discuss some more of this kind of a structure for bringing fluency in your speech. Thank you. This is Eddie Singh on your channel Easy English by Eddie Singh, your own channel.